just constantly invest in your number one asset, which is your website. It can be a sales machine if you invest in SEO, traffic, copy, even just updating it regularly.
This is important for our listener to understand that even if all of your business comes through in referrals, some of those referrals will not actually call you because they'll go to your website and they'll think, wow, these guys are not up to date.
I think these days people do scan websites and they just stop at headlines and what gets their attention.
Hello and welcome to Marketing Speak. I'm your host, Stephan Spencer. It is my pleasure to have Greg Merrilees back on the show. Greg Merrilees is the founder and managing director of Studio One Design. This is another case study episode. This is a services industry site that we're going to go through called Firefly Legal, a shared client between Studio One Design and Net Concepts, my company. Firefly Legal has been in the business for 27 years, serving the legal community. And now it has a modern site that matches their professional reputation, thanks to Studio One. We've incorporated a lot of SEO and conversion elements, which we're going to talk about. Some of those, many of those, we believe are going to be relevant to your site and to your business. So that's why this is important for you to listen to. It's not just edutainment. This is actionable insights for you to make more money with your business. Greg, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back, Stephan. It's awesome to be here. This is a good case study. I think, the listener's going to get a lot of value out of this if you have a service business for sure. If you don't have a service business, please share it with somebody that does if they want a better result from their website.
Well, I think any business, whether it's e-commerce or just informational, just like a ad-supported site, anybody who has a website would benefit from this episode because there's so many really cool tips and tools that we're going to be talking about and strategies, tactics, different kinds of techniques that are applicable to any website, not just a services website.
Couldn't agree more. Absolutely. So where do you want to start? I think we could.
Well, let's give a little bit more background first on Firefly Legal so they have a sense for where in the marketplace Firefly is and how they differ from like other types of professional services companies. And then we'll go into what the site looked like and how it worked before and what the big problems were. Many of the common mistakes that we see across most websites are applied here in the old version of Firefly Legal, and then we'll go into what your process was to redesign them. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great. Well, if you could just give an overview, and then I'll get into the issues with their old website. Yeah.
So Firefly Legal is a civil process serving firm, meaning that if you need skip tracing, court filing, document retrieval, mobile notary service, any of that sort of stuff, especially if you're in the law industry, like a law firm, you're going to need Firefly's services. They've been in business since 1996. They have a strong industry reputation and not a lot of serious competition. So that's good for them. And however, their old website was really pretty generic looking and did not differentiate them, did not make them look as professional and high tier, high level as the competition. So the strategy was not in place to really take that high caliber reputation and present that in a way that it was clear when you visited the website. So that's why when I started talking with Keith, the CEO and founder, that he needed a redo. He needed a new website, and I knew just the guy to introduce him to. So that's what I did in October of 2022. And you guys came on board and started doing the redesign work in 2023. So why don't you talk about how that all talk about your process, what the big issues were, why they needed a redo of their site.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. And look, this is a business that has a lot of history and they probably have a lot of referrals. So they probably thought they don't need to worry about their website so much. But it obviously works against you if new prospects are coming to your website. And because they're investing in SEO, there's a lot of new prospects finding their website all of a sudden. So therefore, the branding, the look and feel can't look dated, even though the business has history. It still needs to look relevant and fresh today. Otherwise, people might think you're outdated, right? So that was
Yeah.
the problem initially. It was really,
Well, this is important for our listener to understand that even if all of your business comes through in referrals, some of those referrals will not actually call you because they'll go to your website and they'll think, wow, these guys are not up to date. Or are these guys even in business? Or are they legit? So those wonderful referrals that would have come in got stopped in their tracks because they were unimpressed with your website. So it is important to have a credible, professional, well designed, well maintained, and well curated website.
yeah, couldn't agree more. And, they do have history, but you wouldn't know that by looking at this website. It doesn't really, talk to that quite easily. You have to dig deep to see that, oh, yeah, okay, they started in 96, but it's kind of hidden, right? But that's just one of the aspects that it's lacking with all the trust factors that we implemented into the new version. But also the messaging, like these are people dealing with people, right? And if you look at this, it just feels like just a faceless brand. There's no people on this, and it's a service business website, and they literally help people. Like they need to build a lot of trust in their brand because they help people with legal documents. Like that's
And with civil process serving, so a person shows up at somebody's doorstep and gives them a document that they probably don't want to get, like being served in a lawsuit. So it's not the lawyer who's going to be presenting that document to the other side. It's Firefly Legal.
Yes, exactly. And so, the first impression for people is quite lackluster, and so that's the look and feel. But then,
And now you mentioned just real briefly trust signals, and we've talked about it in other episodes. But if somebody has not listened to our other case study episodes, what are trust signals?
yeah, so anything that when somebody lands on your site, they get a really quick understanding of why they should trust you. Essentially, that's the goal of the trust signals. But that could be anything from how long you've been in business, how many clients you serve, the clients that you've actually served is in the logos, or anything else, depending on your industry, that's going to help showcase your authority level, essentially, just as a really quick overview when you just visually look at it. And we'll show you what we did there in the redesign shortly. And by the way, if you're just listening, go to YouTube because we've got a full video on YouTube where we're sharing our screen and showing the before and after. So then the messaging as well, it's very much just here's what we do, from process serving to court filing, our personal attention, blah, 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 which is, it's half decent, probably good for SEO, but there's no real emotional connection in that. There's no real point of difference to their competitors. So it's just lacking, that personality in their copy to really show their point of difference. The copy, the design, obviously the SEO probably had some issues as well, Stephan.
Yeah, a lot of issues, but we started working on that several months before you guys launched the redesign. So yeah, we were starting to lay the foundation with new content and keyword research and do the technical audit and all that sort of stuff to find underlying foundational issues with the structure of the website. Yep.
Got it. Yeah. And then there was no real strategy or a book a call funnel. It was literally everything just went to the contact page. The get a quote, the request a quote, pretty much everything just went to the contact page. So we just built a little funnel for them that builds massive trust in the brand with video and, just different steps for conversions, which we can unpack as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely want to unpack that so that our listener can or viewer, really, if you're not viewing this episode, but you're listening to it, you're missing some key information. So you'll want to watch the YouTube version of this episode that has the screen share so you can watch us go through the different pages of the site and learn and apply this to your own site.
Yep, absolutely. And so therefore, our process is to have a call with a client. We send them a questionnaire, which has a lot of questions about their existing business, their offer, their target market, what they like in a website design, their funnels, their lead magnets, whatever they have. Basically, we just try and unpack the whole bigger picture. And then we record that call and, we transcribe and run it through AI and all those things to really just formulate our plan for the designer. And then what we do, we get a copywriter involved. Then not from our team, we didn't do this copy, but the point is, working with a copywriter that really understands the client and their client on a deep level it's a game changer, essentially, if you put the right copy on the page.
Can we go through a sample set of some of these questions in your questionnaire? Because it's so good. It really gets the client to think deeply about their website and what they're trying to achieve and so forth. So you just kind of rattle off a few ideas, but I've got the questionnaire pulled up and I love these questions. Like, for example, describe your main goal and objectives for your new website. What's currently working well on your existing website? What's wrong with your existing website? Do you have a risk reversal strategy? What are your competitors doing well? What could your competitors do better? How is your business different? Like, this is great stuff. This really helps crystallize their unique point of difference, where they're lacking, what they're trying to achieve with the new website. It really gets them to show up more intentionally.
Yes, and they're the first two sections. Then we go into the target market and we talk about, who is their target market, as in, their age, their gender, their role, their, socioeconomic status, or whatever defining characteristics represent their target market. Then we go into the problem that they solve for their audience. There might be multiple, but we really want to focus on the number one problem. How do they benefit from your offer? What their target audience heaven is like, and then what their hell is like. It's usually the opposite. And other questions like what motivates them to choose you, what implications to them do they have if they don't purchase your offer, and what are some barriers stopping them from buying from you? All these things really help guide the copywriting to put that into the page, so that when other prospects come to the website, they can see themselves in that copy, so it's quite important. There are a bunch more questions as well, but yeah.
It's such an important initial part of the engagement, and it guides not just the copywriting, but the design, the layout, the flow, the funnels, and all the various steps in the buyer journey that is coded into the website. Really, really valuable. So, for example, if you're using generic stock photography on the homepage and it doesn't relate to the problems and the situation and the environment of the ideal client avatar, that's a mismatch.
It is indeed. Yep, absolutely. And these days with AI, there should be no need to use stock. AI can generate some incredible images if you're prompted.
You can put like their favorite books in the photo, like sitting on the bookshelf behind them. It's it's amazing. Why you wouldn't use AI, I just can't think of an answer. Like, just pick a stock photo from Pexels or Unsplash. No, put their favorite stuff in the background and on the desk and in the bookshelf, and the people that inspire them, hang those pictures of those people on the wall in a picture and stuff like that. That's just so customizable because of AI now.
Yeah, we're having so much fun with it. Even down to the branding, it'll all be, photography that we've created based on the target market, their problems, and the solution. But we just brand the photos in the color palette and the mood that we want to evoke. Like, it's really powerful. Yeah, it's very exciting what we're doing these days. Obviously, we designed this Firefly website, a few years ago, a couple of years ago, and so we weren't using AI. When I'll show you the after design in a minute, but still, it didn't matter because we wanted to address the issues that were lacking on this, which was there was no personality, there was no people behind the brand. So now on my screen, I'm just sharing what the after design looks like on their homepage. I'll just refresh so you can see there's a little bit of animation getting your attention on these little, what we call impact metrics, just at the bottom of the main hero banner above the fold on the homepage. And the reason we do a little bit of animation on load is just to get your attention realistically without really overpowering. We wouldn't recommend doing image sliders or video backgrounds or animation or whatever because it's too distracting. But if it's a little bit distracting and it puts focus on the social proof, that's a good thing. Yeah. So, but yeah, real photo of the people behind the brand, and they look approachable. They're wearing their brand in t-shirts, but it's just real. And look at this. I'm just going to quickly scroll. We'll come back and unpack the various elements, but you'll see there's just a lot of real photos throughout of, the team at Firefly. So yeah, it makes a huge difference when you show the people behind the brand to build trust in the brand and the people behind the brand, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. Because as they say, people buy from people. They do business with people, not with faceless corporate entities.
Exactly. Now, we love their logo, like the actual Firefly logo. So we utilize that and we use the same color palette, but obviously we introduce like a contrast color for the main call to action in a blue that complements the palette, and it's highly contrast compared to the rest. So it gets your attention. But yeah, so that's above the fold. Obviously, the top nav, it's probably similar to what they had. If we just do a quick comparison, we've probably simplified it a little bit. Remove technology. I'm sure that's probably just some advice from Stephan to say, roll that into insights or whatever the case was. It's probably unnecessary. And that's with the whole idea of the top nav is to simplify it and make it logical for people so they understand exactly what they're going to get when they get to that page.
And from an SEO standpoint, the top nav is crucially important because it reinforces how important the key pages are of your site to the search engines and to the LLMs. So if you're not putting a key page in your top nav, then the engines think, well, this isn't that important of a page.
Yeah. And therefore, as well, like it needs to be user-friendly. People need to understand what it is. You know what about is in the top nav. You know what services will do. You know where locations will go, FAQ, blog. But where would technology go? It didn't really make sense to have it there. It's just confusing. So that's why we removed that, right? But yeah. And so then drop down. So services, they have all their services. And this is where Stephan's ninja SEO team and their concepts come in, because they create individual landing pages for each of the services that have that service. So it's kind of like a combination of service and location page rolled into one.
Right. So we talked about this in depth on a previous couple of case study episodes, the Where Landscaping case study episode. So local services, local landscaping and snow removal and all that. And then also in Yosha Law case study, where we talked about the combination of practice area plus location as a kind of a ninja tactic for getting the specialized like location plus keyword of the service you need, car accident, attorney, Indianapolis, for example.
Yes, we did indeed. So yeah, listen to those episodes or watch them on YouTube. And then underneath the hero banner, underneath the impact metrics, we have some of their clients essentially, which are probably well-known law firms in their niche. I have no idea personally, but I'm sure they are. And then we have
so some of those are like bar associations and different kinds of organizations that lend credibility to Firefly. So if they're clients or they're partners or they're trusted members of that association or whatever, that's what that trust bar of logos is for.
Excellent. And they could be a mixture of clients or associations, listener, depends on your business model. But yeah, that's a great place to put some logos there. Then we have a testimonial.
Yeah. Like if you have certifications or if you have awards that you've gotten, that's a great place to put those logos.
Exactly. And then we have a section for the services, and that'll link off to the individual services page. And then underneath that, we have, just a little bit about their process, knowledge, communication, success. It's really quite simple, but, I like the fact that they've got people in each of the steps to show, there's people that do each one of these steps. It's not done with automation. It's done with care, essentially. But all the copy, I haven't mentioned the copy yet either, but, it's quite simple, but it's really just, it's good for SEO, but it's also just trying to reiterate what they do and how they do it differently and what the benefit is to the customer. All right. So I think that's really important and good copy throughout the page without it being, completely overdone. I think these days, people do scan websites and they just stop at headlines and what gets their attention. And a lot of copy, don't get me wrong, good copywriting, sometimes needs to be in depth and detailed. But on the homepage, it's really just an overview of, the problems you solve and what's unique about you guys.
Yeah, now in the age of AI and people using LLMs, we need to be concise and chunky and not just really overly verbose and not straight to the point, because that will hurt you in the LLMs if people are using ChatGPT or Claude to get recommendations of who to work with, process servers and different kinds of service providers. And, maybe you kind of beat around the bush too much on your website and you thought you needed to have 3,000 words of copy because you read that somewhere for SEO purposes, but now it's a different game because people are going to ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and Grok and getting their answers there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So yeah, get to the point with your copy, humanize it, and make sure it's not like everybody else. Yeah, and what is unique about you? That's really what you want to draw out on your website to let people know essentially why they should choose you over your competitors. Yeah. So, and that's what all this copy is all about, right? So it's benefit driven and what's unique about us, why choose us. Then we've got some social proof as well, and that'll link off to more testimonials and just, other little bits of copy to sort of reiterate why they're different. Okay, and then we have some blog posts and then a final call to action at the bottom, which is the site-wide call to action, which is to book a discovery call. And then we have a footer. But then this was the big change. So instead of just on the discovery call to action, instead of just sending people to a contact page, there's no real trust in that. And so what we do instead, send them to a page that's dedicated for them just to book a discovery call, a little bit of description of what they can expect, call to action above the fold. And then there's a video as well that's half above the fold. I couldn't put everything above the fold, but and this is a really good video to explain, why they should book a discovery call. And then underneath we have more of those trusted logos and client testimonials. But you'll notice there's no top navigation. We just want them to do one thing on this call, and that's watch the video and press the call to action to book the call, right? And so then we take them to a scheduling tool. You can use whatever. They've used Calendly, and that's just embedded onto the page. So a mistake that we see others do is they will just take people to like a third-party scheduling tool, as opposed to having what we do here is embed that third-party tool on a web page in your brand, essentially. So it can lose trust if you send them to a totally different URL, calendly.com / whatever it is, you know what I mean? So we do this instead. Now, I haven't said no top nav.
That happens for more than just scheduling a call. That happens when, fill out this form, go to, take this quiz, do this questionnaire, et cetera, and then they go to a Google form. Or they go to a type form or something that is not even branded. It has just generic, cheap look to it of whatever that service provider is that you're using for the the form or whatever, and now they have a bad taste in their mouth. Like, is this really a professional, legit company that spent a decent amount of money building their website? Maybe not.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, by the way, we probably should not have had a top nav on this page. That's probably an oversight, or maybe that's been changed since we designed it accidentally. Who knows? But we sort of designed this and built it a couple of years ago. Anything can happen since then. Now, what I should say is that we then take them to a thank you page. And this is another great tip for anybody out there that does have a book or call funnel. If you do put videos in every part of the process, A, you build trust in who you are, but B, you will attract the right kind of people and repel the ones that, aren't a good fit, essentially, right? But then on the thank you page, this is a really important video where you reiterate, why you congratulate them and thank them for, booking the call, and let them know, reiterate what they're going to get out of the call. But then also, this is a golden opportunity to answer. Let's say if you have a sales team, or if you are a salesperson, if you think about those little initial discovery calls, what are the questions you get from your prospects about your service, about your offer? Any objections that they have, anything that sort of worries them, you can answer those type of FAQs and objections in this 5-minute video on the thank you page. And you'll find more people will show up for the call, because not everybody shows up for a call, even though they booked it. And B, they convert better because you've answered a lot of those questions. You don't have to go through all those icky questions on the call. So yeah, it's pretty powerful if you do that in the thank you page video.
Yeah. And also when we talked about this on one of the other episodes on like a case study, perhaps on, I don't remember which case study, but this Netflixing strategy that John Shoemaker told me at one point. He said, just overwhelm them with lots of great video content that they can consume prior to the call, and do that on the thank you page. Say, hey, in preparation for the call, you might want to watch these videos. You don't have to, but this will really help set you up for success and get the most out of our discovery call, or whatever you're calling that strategy call. We'll start out strong right out of the gate, because you'll be prepped for our call.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a very good idea. We've done that with some client websites, and you generally put that stuff underneath the video on the thank you page.
Yeah. So they could binge watch maybe an hour of content of yours prior, and some people will, and then they're persuaded, to use Dr. Cialdini terminology. They're persuaded then when they're showing up on the call.
Exactly. And so we have to think not everybody is going to be ready to book a discovery call, right? And this is really for people that already know your brand, they're familiar, what we call a warm lead. But then for people that are cold, they won't be ready. They want to check out your services first, or your location, or your blog, or however they come into your website. They have a different pathway, and they're not ready to book a discovery call. So therefore, I've just got a page here. This would be one of the, this is the Arizona location page for process servers. And so this page here, we have to assume they haven't been to any other page on the website. So you reiterate, impact metrics. You have a lot of good copy that will talk to, and obviously search engines, but also the prospect, so they can understand, how you've helped people in a similar area, for instance. And then, it's just got a lot more information on this page, because this will help build trust in what they can deliver for you. And then we do reiterate some sections from the homepage, because we have to assume they haven't been to the homepage, right? So you'll see some repeated sections on there as well. But and so these pages are quite detailed, and they have a lot of social proof and a call to action at the bottom of the page, etc. As opposed to the standard, the old way of doing a service page was just literally to appeal to SEO, to search engines, or search everywhere, AI as well. And it's really quite boring visually, and there's not enough trust building elements on a page. So we go to the extra effort and, talk about what's important to them, how you can help them, and what's unique about the client that we've designed the website for, essentially.
Yeah, great stuff.
Cool. Yeah. So that's a pathway for people that want to learn more about your offer. And then you also have to think about, if they do come in through a blog, then they may not be. I'll just show you a blog. Yeah, so just the blog here and an individual blog post, and they may not be ready yet. They might just be looking for information, right? So what we did recommend, there isn't a lead magnet on this website, but we did recommend it, but that was their choice. And so even now, Stephan, I'd probably go back to them and say, hey, probably put a lead magnet. And generally on a blog these days, we have, as you scroll, we have a sticky lead magnet, right? Because this is better for cold traffic. Before we talked about warm traffic. For cold traffic, they're not ready to book a discovery call. They're just on a blog page. So it makes more sense to put a lead magnet to, get their email address in return for some value. And Stephan, what could that value be? You had a great idea before.
Yeah, but before I share what that idea is, we'll get to that in a minute. But what was Firefly's justification or reasoning around not having a lead magnet, even though you recommended it? Do you remember?
I vaguely remember, it was a couple of years ago, but I think it was because their target audience are law firms, essentially, and maybe organizations, but they deal with sort of high-level people. So they thought that maybe they don't need to have a low-level PDF that, their target market may not find valuable compared to booking a discovery call. But like I said before, I think you need to cater to colder audiences that aren't ready for that discovery call. What are your thoughts, Stephan?
Yeah. Well, what I recall is that their conversion rate is much higher when they get people on the phone. So they want to get everybody possible on the phone. So that's why they want the discovery call. And so that they push that really hard, and they don't want to push anything else because perhaps it will derail somebody from booking that discovery call if they give another option, like download this thing or fill out this form or whatever, and then now they're not on the phone and doing their amazing sales job on the phone. But the problem is that not everybody's ready to get on the phone, and they know that they're going to get sold, and maybe they don't want to get sold because they want to be or need to be persuaded first before they're willing to get on a call. So that's why a lead magnet needs to be pretty much on every website. You need some sort of bait, like an irresistible offer that anybody and everybody would say yes to. They would be silly not to. And so that's where the idea, I'll share it now, comes in, of a new lead magnet, because times have changed since 2023. Since we started this joint project with Firefly Legal, they're still a client of ours. So now we can go to them and say, hey, I know you didn't want a lead magnet back when the site was redesigned in 2023, 2024, but things have advanced now in terms of AI. Everybody's talking about ChatGPT. Everybody's using ChatGPT and other LLMs. Why don't we create a lead magnet about how you need to be on the cutting edge of these LLMs and just be using them in your law firm in order to not be left behind. And that will kind of compel them. Like there's a pain point there that's going to, I think, hit home for most people.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And look, just on that topic of AI, they've got their latest blog post is how AI in legal services is transforming the industry. If that's a popular blog post, turn that into a lead magnet. Why not? So yeah, I think it's probably a missed opportunity. I get what the argument would be to get more people booking a call, but not everybody will be ready. That's why a lead magnet is important. And I would say in this case, it could just be an exit pop. Like people go to leave, triggered by hovering over the top pixel of the web page, and then boom, you offer the opt-in for the free PDF in return for an email address. So if they don't want to put on the website, at least test an exit pop.
Yeah, so that's different from a timed pop-up, which will pop up for everybody regardless at a certain time, let's say 10 seconds into visiting the site. And if it's misconfigured, then it keeps popping up every time they go to the homepage or whatever. I was just experiencing that with another website yesterday. I talked to the person who owns the website and said this is a problem. So anyways, that's not best practice. Best practice would be to have an exit pop, and you wouldn't put the book a call or request a quote type of offer on an exit pop because they're about to leave. You didn't sell them. So this is like that last ditch effort. Hey, we got something irresistible before you go. Do you want this thing? All you need to give us is your email address and you'll get this valuable thing.
Exactly. And if you do get their email address, then take them to a thank you page and then offer the call. Yeah. But also keep them warm via an email nurture sequence. Yeah. Cool. Now, another valuable page, they have a lot of, on their about drop down, they have team, they have compliance and organization, technology and careers. Now, I wanted to show this page, which is their community page, because not many businesses do this as a gesture essentially, but they give back to their community in various ways. And I just think it's an awesome page, an awesome thing to display on your website if you do give back to the community and you get involved with the community. Like this here is a Chicago Firefly run that they do. And yeah, I would say it's good to show that you give back, but also it can actually be a good trust builder as well. And people might choose you because you give back.
Yeah. And wouldn't you recommend that be kind of sprinkled throughout the site, not just in that one page? Because if they didn't think to go to your about drop down and then curious enough to click on, community development or whatever what was that called in the nav? So if you are doing stuff like volunteering or donating or organizing fundraisers, doing something that is good in the world, highlight that. Don't just bury it once in a page, in a section, in a drop down, but sprinkle it throughout the site, just like you would sprinkle throughout the site that you want people to go visit your about page and read about the timeline of your evolution of your business and you as a person, as the founder, so that they can know, like, and trust you and root for you and feel good about you. But also do that with the community development stuff, all the great donations and volunteering and fundraiser stuff you're doing.
Yeah, true. Okay, and then just a careers page is a good page to have on any website, A, to attract top talent, but B, because other prospects that see that you are trying to attract top talent will be another reason for them to choose you. So yeah, it's pretty powerful, this careers page. We recommend it a lot. But again, it's just good.
Even if you're not currently hiring, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly. We have one on our website and it's just always there. We do get people just apply all the time, but yeah, it's just a good page for just like I said, building trust in your brand.
Yeah. So I love the personality that comes through of the Firefly brand on pages like this with the careers. It just makes them feel so much more real and fun and engaging and interesting. Like the fun images of the staff and that section halfway down the page. And the why join our team, like the guy there in the middle pointing to the next person with a big smile on his face. Like everybody's really looking engaged and interested and happy and satisfied. So that's who I want to work with or work for. And if I'm a prospect and I happen to go to this page to see, is this like a cool company? Then I feel that vibe. I get that culture vibe feeling from this page.
Exactly. I love the benefit-driven headline that's relevant to a Firefly, their brand. Spread your wings with a career at Firefly Legal. I reckon that's really cool.
They've got all this cute terminology that incorporates that theme, like enlighten your caseload and stuff like that. That's fun.
It's fun. Cool. So that's kind of, how we've designed this website. Feel free to check it out at fireflylegal.com. But Stephan, let's share some of the results. You ready for that?
Yeah. So here we have in the first section some data from SEMrush showing organic traffic and organic keywords. And you can see both are up and to the right graphs. So So we're getting steady improvements in the organic traffic and in the number of keywords that they're ranking for, and also the number of SERP features where they're displaying. SERP stands for Search Engine Results Page, so that would include things like AI overviews and the image one boxes and the local pack results, if that's applicable, etc. So that's all up and to the right, which is awesome. And of course, that equates also to the thing that really matters for them is more leads and more clients. Where, as you can see, more leads and requests for quotes, more contact form fill outs, etc. So it's all looking like there's an impact there. The most recent month here, we got the largest number of request a quote form fill outs of all time. So
it's like it's a 4x from a year ago.
Pretty awesome.
Incredible. Yeah, totally. And also increase their phone calls as well.
Yeah. So it's important to have multiple metrics that give you a sense for how people are coming into your funnel and getting through that buyer journey, because some people will just call you directly because you got your phone number up at the top. They might just fill out the contact form. They might fill out the form that's on request a quote, or they might go through the whole process of actually scheduling a call using your embedded calendar like we showed a few minutes ago. And all those are different metrics to measure and check the improvements on as you make changes to your website and add new strategies.
You bet, Stephan. Cool. Well, that's probably a wrap, unless you want to keep going. But I think there's some really good takeaways in this for the listeners. And it just goes to show that when you put good design, good copy, good SEO hand in hand, it's like it's a multiple of probably, like we saw there, it was 4x for just one of the metrics, but their traffic's up. If you saw the graph, the traffic's up a ridiculous amount. So it's way more than 4x. But yeah, you have multiple wins when you combine all those things. And I guess the big lesson here is if you do have a well-established business, then really revisit your branding and make sure you don't look dated, make sure you still look completely relevant. And the other big lesson was put a face to the brand and show the people behind the brand. It's just a massive trust booster, as you can see from these results.
Yeah. Now, one thing that we talked about before the recording, and you were prepping for this this interview by pulling up some different tools, and one of those tools was Built With, and you were checking to see what sort of things like plugins and hosting and all that, because it's been a little while since the redesign went live, and you're just checking to see what was happening behind the scenes. And you didn't even have to log into their WordPress admin or anything. You could just be anybody and use this free tool to see all that back-end information. So why don't you walk through that?
Yeah, I think you introduced me to this tool, Stephan. Builtwith.com. You can just put in any website, your own or competitors or whoever, and you can see how their website was built, what platform it was built on, what analytic tools they have, what plugins they have, etc. And so what I was looking for, the reason I brought this up is just because, it's been a couple of years since we designed and built this website, just to see if they still have the things that we introduced. Like there's a plugin called WP Rocket, and they still have it. And you notice the website loads quickly, and that's because of two things. One is they use WP Rocket. It's built well. It's actually built on Elementor, and you can see that here. We use Elementor Pro for WordPress, which is a really lightweight, fast page builder for WordPress. But then on top of that, we've got all the cache-in and all those other little bits and pieces you do to speed it up. But on top of that, they've got really good hosting, which is with WP Engine, who we do recommend. We use Google Cloudways and WP Engine. They're both equally as good as each other. And there's so many good reasons to choose them. A, they're fast, but B, they have a lot of security around their hosting so that it's very unlikely that you'll get hacked. But then they have a daily backup. If you get hacked or if you make a mistake, they'll restore it for you, or you can restore it yourself from the daily backup. So yeah, they're just the little things that I look for in any website to see, is it performing well? And if not, why not? What kind of plugins do they have? Are there too many? Are they conflicting? And this is how you can just get a bird's eye view in Built With.
Yeah, that's a great tip. And did you use any other tools to prep for this? Like, what were some of the other tools that you pulled up?
Yeah, just had a look at XML sitemap to see how many pages they currently have. Google's crawled 100 pages, but one of them's not live. It might be hidden for whatever reason, probably a thank you page. And so, yeah, it's indexed in 99 pages. But yeah, I just wanted to see what those pages were, see how many, there's a lot of, locations pages, service pages, but then all of their insight pages as well, which is the work that Stephan's team's been doing for them. And that's, the majority of, the extra pages that have been added. So yeah, all these things contribute to, more traffic if you just keep adding pages to your website over time. And I don't think they had anywhere near the amount of pages that I have now. And it's still only 100 pages, but it's still, look at the incredible results. But imagine if you had 500 pages or 1,000 pages. And that's the power of just constantly blogging. And it's not just for search engines. It's like Stephan says, SEO is search everywhere engine, including AI. And we find the more how-to posts that we put on our website at studio1design.com, the more we're getting found in search engines, because people are saying, we asked the question, how did you first discover us? And a lot of them are saying ChatGPT. So yeah, it's incredible how investing in content on your website will help you get found in search AI search engines.
Yeah. And so the insights section of the site is just their terminology for the blog. So it doesn't just sound like a boring blog. It sounds enticing and interesting, calling it insights. Now, we created a lot of content there in the blog, in the insights section for SEO purposes, but it's also there for the users to help them make a better buying decision, to understand the breadth and scope of what Firefly Legal offers. So these posts are evergreen. They're not just ephemeral and of the moment, like here's an interesting thing that happened last week, because nobody wants to read that 2 years from now. So we really focus on trying to make evergreen content for SEO and for the AI LLMs and for the users when they're already on the site. Yeah. And you mentioned the tool you used to analyze the XML sitemap of Firefly Legal, or any site on the internet that has a sitemap, is just xml-sitemaps.com.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. That's all I know. I think there's a limit to 500 pages. It'll still show that it has more, but this is the free version. You get a paid version, and it'll show every page essentially over 500 pages. Yeah, good. Just good little tool to see the pages, and it also it puts them in the most popular page first when it does the sitemap preview. So you'll see, .com, the homepage is most popular, then request a quote, and then the about, then the team. By the way, your about page is always, one of the most visited pages on your website. So it just shows the order of popularity.
All right. Well, what would be the biggest takeaway that you want to leave our listener or viewer with as we close out this episode?
Yeah, I mean, I went through my takeaways before and you were doing all the tech stuff, but I would say out of those takeaways, the number one is to just constantly invest in your number one asset, which is your website. It can be a silent sales machine if you invest in SEO, traffic, copy, and just updating it regularly with customer testimonials, customer logos, just anything that is evolving as you get more social proof, keep putting it back into your website, even impact metrics.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll piggyback on that by saying that your website is never finished. And also that every page of your site is like a virtual salesperson. And if you have a 50-page website, that's 50 virtual salespeople. Wouldn't it be better to have 500 virtual salespeople, or even 5,000 out there pounding the pavement, getting you leads and sales through AI, LLMs, through Google, and through other channels? That is a secret weapon. make more and better content so that you can be found more places with that SEO, search everywhere optimization.
Well said. Thank you for listening or watching.
So, Greg, how does our listener or viewer work with Studio One? What is their next step to potentially do a redesign with your team?
Thank you, Stephan. Yeah, reach out, go over to studio1design.com. Have a look at our folio first. We find that's what people want to check out first to see if, we've done something in your industry. And there's probably a good chance we have. We've got an extensive folio. And then, we've got a book a call. We've got free resources, but also my book, Next Level Website Design.com. And you touched on one of the chapters before, Stephan. Your website is never finished. That's the last chapter in the book because it's not finished. And that's, just talking about all the things you can do just to keep improving it over time.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, listener. Thank you, viewer. Go out there and make it a better world and contribute in a meaningful way. And we'll catch you in the next episode. I'm your host, Stephan Spencer, signing off.